What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Hawk Talk on Melrose. Iowa 13, Minnesota 10. If you want to call it a delayed instant reaction episode, that is what this is. I am recording this on Sunday afternoon by myself again. Tyler is not here. So another solo episode. But yeah, let's get right into it. We'll talk a little Iowa, Minnesota. We'll get into the Iowa, Nebraska game. We will not be recording an episode at all this week. So this is kind of the only episode until probably next week. So yeah, don't be on the lookout for another episode. This is it for this week. So I guess before we even start, as I dive deep into the game, I want to start off by talking a little bit about this team and about this season, because this season has been a roller coaster of emotions, right? You go from the first game, South Dakota State game, we won 7-3, but terrible offense. The Iowa State game, we lost, right? Every game, it's just like a very unique season. And even though the season has been, in my eyes, seemed like it's gone very quick. It's felt like it's been ages since we've played, Iowa State in that South Dakota State game. It almost felt like that was a completely different season. But as we sit here today on Sunday, November 20th, we are one game away from making it to Indy. We are one game away of winning the Big Ten West. We'll probably share it with Purdue, but we'll win the Big Ten West and we'll go on to Indy. We're one game away. And what's different from last year, if you don't recall, last year we obviously made it to Indy, but we had a little bit of we had to have some things kind of go our way. We beat Nebraska on Black Friday last year, but we were still not in the clear, right? We needed Minnesota to beat Wisconsin, which in most years, Wisconsin usually handles Minnesota. And that last year, it was obviously one of those years where Minnesota finally won. It was great. We were a Minnesota fan for one day and we made to Indy. Well, this year it's a little bit different. It's kind of awesome because we control our own destiny, right? I'm going to the game on Friday. As I'm walking into Kinnick, I mean, literally the Big Ten West is going through Kinnick on Friday. And it's up in the air for us. All we have to do is win the football game. And we'll get into that game, here in a little bit. But man, it's just like, should we be in the Big Ten Big Ten championship game? Probably not. I mean, we're a very average team at best, really good defense, really bad offense. And you put that right in the middle then. But do we deserve to be in the Big Ten championship game? And I want to say yes. I mean, the way this team, man, the way the first 7 games went, where, first you lost to Iowa State, which isn't the end of the world. I mean, because at the end of the day, you want to win your Big Ten games, right? But lose to Iowa State. And then we start Big Ten play. We beat Rutgers, but then we go on a 3-game losing streak against 3 Big Ten teams. And we are 1-3, 3 straight losses. Michigan, Illinois, and then got our butts kicked against Ohio State. And it really felt like the season was pretty much over. And I'll be the first to admit, I kind of gave up. I lost hope. After that Ohio State game, we were sitting here wondering, are we even going to make a bowl game? I think at the time we had, 3 wins? And we figured we'd probably beat Northwestern. But even that was kind of like, well, Northwestern has had our number in the last decade. So, that's not a guaranteed win. But then we still had to play Purdue and Wisconsin and on the road at Minnesota and then Nebraska. And it's just like, are we even going to make a bowl game? And for us to lose those games, and not only that, but just having the fans, kind of turn on them, the national media, Iowa football was a laughingstock because of our offense. And the way Ferentz and co kept this team together and just, believed in themselves to turn it around. It's truly remarkable. It shows how good the culture is inside Iowa football's program. It truly does. And even though I do get upset a lot by Ferentz and, I get upset how stubborn he can be at times and how he's unwilling to change. But the one thing I will say that he has is he's a hell of a leader, and he knows how to keep his guys together. I mean, there's not much more to say than that. And most programs in college football, they would have kind of gave up, right? Shows how good the culture is. You look around college football, there's a lot of teams that are lacking culture. And the reason why they just can't win. I'm not throwing shots at, but like Nebraska, right? There's just no culture there, especially under Scott Frost. What other teams are there? Texas A&M, they're getting all this talent. Culture is not very good. Miami for a long time. We'll see if Mario Cristobal can turn that around. But I'm just kind of giving some examples. And this Iowa football team, 90% of other programs in college football, the way it was going, right, losing all those games, national, laughing stock, right? That's what everybody's talking about. They're literally laughing at you. Where we at the time, offense was an embarrassment, right? Most teams would have just kind of, fell to the ground. And we, instead of doing that, we turn the tide. So do we deserve to be in the Big Ten championship game? I really do think we do. The way we turned it around, we beat Northwestern. We went on the road and beat a Purdue team that has had our number. We beat a Wisconsin team that has had our number. And then we go on the road and beat a Nebraska or beat a Minnesota team that doesn't have our number, but they are wanting that game really bad because it's been a while since they've beaten us. 2014 was the last time. And we took care of business, all 4 teams. And in 2 of the games, we won by, double digits. So just take care of business on Friday, baby. That's all you got to do, right? Just take care of business, and you're in the Big Ten tournament or Big Ten championship game. I don't know why I keep saying tournament. I must be still in basketball mode after Iowa's win the other night against Seton Hall. All right. So let's go into this game a little bit. I have the screen up right now if you're following us on YouTube. Once again, we are on YouTube. Just type in Hawk Talk on Melrose, and you can find all our videos there. If you don't want to go on YouTube, we are on your favorite podcast platform. And just make sure you leave a review and put and hopefully give us 5 stars. You don't have to, but we're hopeful that you will. So you look at the team stats here, and if you don't know what the final outcome was, you would say, yeah, Minnesota wins pretty easily. We'll just start at like the time of possession, for example. They had 35 minutes time of possession. We only had 24. Rushing yards, we had 59 rushing yards to 312 rushing yards for them. Yards per rush, they were getting 6.2 yards a pop, which, yeah, you're not going to win many games when that happens. Passing yards, we actually led in that category. We had 221 passing yards. I do like the yards per pass, 9.2. I think that's something that Iowa, I've always said, has lacked, and 9.2 is actually really good. And then total yards, I mean, like I said, they beat us by over 100 yards. So, and then first downs here, 17 first downs. They were 7 for 16 on third down efficiency. I mean, you look at this and this screams a Minnesota win. And not only that, but it screams by a decent amount, by at least 10 plus points. I guess the only thing that really helped us was obviously the turnovers at the end of the ball game. Now, Minnesota, for some reason, and we were texting this in a group chat last night, they have had our number when it comes to running the football. They have figured out how to run on us. And I think a lot of it has to do with their offensive line. Minnesota under PJ Fleck has always had a decent offensive line, and they're big and physical, and they just kind of manpower you a little bit. And when you're only, having 4 defensive line and only 1 linebacker on occasion, yeah, you're not going to win that matchup. And so last year they had over 200 rushing yards. There are 2 running backs. And then this game, obviously, Abraham had 263 total yards and 1 touchdown on 39 carries. And so they dominated. And what was getting me kind of upset there for a little bit was the fact that you knew that they were just going to keep running the football. I mean, their backup quarterback, I mean, if it was Tanner Morgan, it'd be one thing, but they had a backup quarterback that wasn't a passing quarterback. You knew what was coming, and they kept doing it, and they just kept hurting us. And I will say this, I texted another thing in the group chat. I said to the guys that are in there, I said, thank God for this Minnesota offensive coordinator, because it seemed like when they would get into the red zone a couple times, especially in the first half, they would pass the football. And it's like, why are you passing when you're getting 6-ish yards per carry? It benefited us, though, so I will take it. But, yeah, and then at the end of the game, that fumble really was huge. I thought then the offensive possession that we had right after that fumble was one of the worst offensive possessions this year, which is kind of hard to say because we've had a lot, but that was terrible. We just got off the field, being on the field for at least 6-ish minutes. They just kept, it was like a painful death. I think right before that fumble, I literally texted, I said, this reminds me of the 2015 Big Ten championship game against Michigan State, where they had the ball for like 9 minutes and just kept getting first down after first down after first down. It was like a slow death. And that fumble happened. And then, so we get offensive, and it was a 3-and-out. Did we take off like any time off the clock? No. I think it was like 3 incompletions. I don't think we ran the ball once that drive. And then we gave them the ball back right at about the 50-yard line. And then I think they immediately had a long run, go figure. And then I think he came out and they ran with the backup, and then they passed, and then we know the rest. And it was a touchdown. Jack Campbell did score that touchdown, but doesn't matter because we still won. I thought the play call then on that drive after Jack Campbell intercepted, it was a hell of a play call to Luke Lachey to set up an easy field goal for Drew Stevens. So yeah, I the way we started the game, I really thought, 10-0 with our defense, I was feeling pretty good. I didn't think the game was over, don't get me wrong, but I was feeling pretty damn good, because with Iowa's defense, if you're up 10-0, it's more like being up 20-0, honestly. And, things quickly kind of went south after we got up 10-0. We just couldn't do anything on offense. Laporta got hurt, and our defense just couldn't stop them. And they just got, like I said, yard after yard, first down after first down. And it really did suck, but we found a way to win. And I can see why Minnesota fans hate Iowa, because it's just like these last couple of years, we just find ways to win. I mean, Minnesota, I think even last year, if you look at like total stats, pretty much won in every category, and we still won. And so we just, like I said, we find ways to win, and we now have Floyd for 8 straight years since 2014, which is truly incredible. So I guess that's really all I can really think of with this game. We figured it out, and it was great to see. And now we're on to Nebraska, Black Friday, big game at home. We were just talking about it 5 minutes ago about the importance of this game going to the Big Ten championship game, and we gotta take care of business. Nebraska, they're not a good football team, relatively speaking, but they're gonna play you very, very tough, and they want this game similar to Minnesota this last week, wanting that game. They haven't beat us since 2014. They want to play spoiler to us, right? It's like if the roles were reversed, if we really had nothing to lose, we were 4-7, or no, they're 3-7, I think. Or no, that doesn't seem right. Maybe they're 3-8, maybe. I don't know. 3-8, maybe, I think is what they are. But regardless, they don't have a good record. And if they had nothing to lose, and it's a rivalry game, it's to play spoiler. Yeah, you're gonna do anything and everything to try to win that game and try to just win. And so it's gonna be a tough game. I mean, it's not gonna be an easy game. And Nebraska, ever since like 2016, they have, or maybe 2017, they have really kept these games very close. There was a 2-year stretch where we dominated them. I think it was 2016 and 2017. But ever since then, it's came down to the wire. And it's really, we have had to do everything and anything to beat them. Now, with this Nebraska team, I've watched a decent amount of Nebraska. I live in Lincoln, obviously. I know a lot of Nebraska fans. I talk to them a decent amount. It's kind of weird how at the beginning of the year, their offense was actually pretty damn good, and then their defense sucked. And now it's kind of reverse. Their defense has kind of figured some things out, but it's their offense that has not been very good. Now with Nebraska, their O-line is not very good. And so for Iowa, I think that, bodes well. I think once again, yesterday against Minnesota, it was one of those things where I think the defensive line just was going up against a unit. That offensive line for Minnesota was really good. And so looking at this game, Nebraska's offensive line is not nearly as good as Minnesota's, which I think is going to help us. I don't know how Nebraska is going to be able to run against us. Now, they do have Anthony Grant. He's a pretty good running back, but I just don't know how they're going to be able to run consistently. Now, they might get a few good runs here or there, but consistently. And so that's going to then open up, Casey Thompson, right? And it's going to be more of like a one-dimensional offense. And that's kind of what they've been like these last couple of weeks. Now, they have some good wide receivers, Trey Palmer, right? Some other guys. But if, like I said, if you can get pressure on Casey and you can, force them to be one-dimensional, you're going to have a pretty good chance of beating them. Now, with Iowa's offense, similar to kind of talking with the offensive line, we have had to go up against some pretty tough defenses, in the last 6 or 7 weeks. You talk Minnesota, you're talking Illinois, you're talking Wisconsin, Michigan, right? Like these are like top 15 defenses. Nebraska's defense is not nearly as good as those defenses. So Iowa's offense should, and I'm saying should, look a little bit better on Friday. Now, who knows? It's Iowa's offense where I think we've sort of turned the page a little bit. We're way better than we were at the beginning of the year, but we're still Iowa, and we're still, we still have Petrus. We still have a pretty bad offensive line. But we should have a little success. I'm not saying we will, but we should. And hopefully Laporta's fine, and hopefully Caleb Johnson's fine, and hopefully we get the dub. But I will say this: if we lose to Nebraska, we don't deserve to make it to the Big Ten championship game. I think we should win. We're a 10-point favorite. We should win. But who knows? It like I said, it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen, right? We should have beat Iowa State, and we didn't, right? We should have beat Illinois, and we didn't. So anything can happen. But if we play our brand of football and we play it well and we don't turn the ball over, because it's Nebraska. They're going to turn the ball over a few times. And so can you capitalize on those opportunities? Can you not turn the ball over? Kind of like in this Minnesota-Iowa game, we had 0 turnovers. Huge. I think that's what won us the game, is turnovers. So if we can do that, we could play our brand of football, just be the more physical team on the offensive and defensive line. Because that's another thing with Nebraska. That's the reason why they have never been very successful in the Big Ten, is because they just don't play physical football. The line of scrimmage has always been pretty weak for Nebraska, right? Now, under Bo Pelini, it was better, and that's the reason why they were getting, 9-ish wins a game or a year. But ever since him, Mike Riley, Scott Frost, the line of scrimmage play has not been good for Nebraska, and it's the reason why they have not been very successful. So we can dominate the line of scrimmage, play our brand of football, and force them to have some turnovers, because you pretty much know that they probably will have a few. You should win this game. And so it's going to be a fun one in Kinnick. I can't wait to be there. It's going to be sold out. Petition now. Iowa should wear their black pants on Friday. It's Black Friday. Let's do it. Let's wear those black pants. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love it to happen. It's a 3:00 game, which means pretty much over 50% of the game will be dark. So it will feel like a night game. And I can't believe I'll be going to Iowa City for the last time for a football game until next year. It's crazy how fast this year has gone. So that will do it for this episode. Let's get the dub. Let's win, so we can go into Saturday, and we can go into the following week knowing, hey, we are going to Indy. And you know what? I'm going to leave it at this. I get it. We're going to play either Michigan or Ohio State, and I get we're probably going to get, curb stomped, probably more than likely. It's just our defense is good, but it's not good enough because of our offense. We're more than likely gonna lose by a decent amount. But you know what? You take that chance, because if your goal is to win a Big Ten title, well, you're not gonna get it. You're not gonna accomplish that goal if you're not there, at least. So at least get there, so you at least have some chance. And so I don't care if that happens. You want to go every single year. And so for me, just win and make it to Indy. I don't care if we get, shit on. I'd rather be there than not be there. So, and how cool it is that, if we do beat Nebraska, to maybe get to the Big Ten championship game 2 years in a row. That'd be really cool. But yeah, let's just take care of Nebraska first, and we'll have that conversation after the fact. So that will do it for this episode. As always, go Hawks.